Hello, my name is Pat Savage. Welcome to the LuxFit ELIXIR. This is episode 6. It's called Tidbits. I'm Horny. Here, in this 30-second clip, I'm going to tell you about, well, if you have a long, meaningful conversation with people, you'll have a way better life. And if you only watch short little clips of things that have really meaningful messages contained within them, you'll still learn. But if you were to take that clip, and even if it wasn't really dramatic like that, and doctored up, dolled up, whatever, and it came up on your social media feed, even if it has a great message in it, is that something that's going to be like life-changing for you? I don't know. Excuse me, I'm very busy. I'm going to go ahead and need my tidbit of information that's going to change my life so that I can go about my day. Thank you. Good day, sir.
Okay, Pat, I get it.
You want me to make an effort
to absorb information in a slightly different way.
But listen, I'm very busy.
I need to check my Tinder matches. Oh my God, somebody retweeted me. God, I'm horny. Wait, who just texted me? Let me see what's on Netflix right now. Ooh, look at this new teeth whitening product. Oh. Did you see this meme about guys that are 5'11" versus guys who are 6 feet? Anyway, I would watch this TED Talk that you sent me or this podcast, but I'm just way too busy. I don't have the time. This episode is not a debate about whether or not you have enough time in your day to watch that TED Talk or that podcast or that YouTube video, but our attention spans are so low. I know, like, I may or may not have been alive before I was born, but I would dare say that since I was a kid, there's been a pretty noticeable decline in how long somebody can pay attention to something before they're ready to move on to something else. And there's a lot of buzz on the internet about this, and people are very aware of this, but something that I don't really see as a pushing point is the willingness to have this long conversation with somebody, whether it's a close friend or a mentor or a complete stranger, and having that conversation about nothing in particular. Some of the most enriching conversations I've ever had were with people who very much fit the bill of, oh, here comes old-timer expert, or here comes boring, blabbing buckaroo. And there'd be no precedent to this talk. It would oftentimes start out as nothing. And sometimes it would trail off and stay nothing. But other times you get this amazing tidal wave of learning and eye-opening. Which brings me to the singular story time of today's episode, which is very short, much shorter than most of the other episodes. And this one's about one of my kind of inadvertent mentors in high school, who also happened to be one of the history teachers and the psychology teacher, and was also the father of one of my other classmates and friends I'd had for a long time since I was young. So there'd be times where we would go over to my friend's house and this mentor would be there, but he'd be, hanging out on the recliner, watching TV, whatever, just chilling. Maybe I'd walk by the kitchen, and on the way through, he would just say, oh, hey, Patrick, how's it going? And I would just stop and say, well, things are great. How are you? It starts as simple as that. Same as like the small talk chit chat that everybody hates in passing. But sure enough, it's like somehow, and I don't know, this man was brilliant. He kind of would hook you in, and you would, like, next thing I know, I'm going from standing, kind of sort of waiting for my opportunity to go play video games upstairs again, to now I'm sitting on the couch and I'm talking to him. And now an hour's gone by, and I'll leave that conversation and go home, and I'll think about it before bed. I'll wake up the next day and I'm thinking about it. Just this long, generic conversation about his experiences and my experiences and his viewpoints and my viewpoints. This man had an incredibly potent effect on my life, and I sometimes wonder if he was aware or if he to this day has any clue how much of a positive effect he had on me and how much those conversations still mean to me, like legit almost 20 years later. That's crazy. However, if you were to ask me of through all the conversations I had with him, if you said, well, what are the bullet points of some of the important life lessons that he taught you? I don't know if I could come up with 3 single line most important takeaways. Isn't that odd? That something so meaningful to me doesn't have like this explicit life lesson takeaway. I can't condense all of those conversations into just a few tidbits of info. Now, like most things that give you gains in life permanently, Sitting down and having a long conversation with somebody about nothing is pretty difficult. Even if you want to, it's pretty hard to pull off in real life. We really are hard charging, busy human beings these days. And it's kind of ironic that this episode is the shortest by far, but has, I would say, arguably the most important message of anything in season 1 up to this point. There are some books that I've read over the years that have completely altered the trajectory of my life. And those same books were ones that I may have set down for a long time or come very close to saying, not feeling this. I think I'm going to move on to something else. I might read a few chapters and say, I'm not hooked like I'm supposed to be. Plop, done. Or maybe I couldn't fully ascertain what the main plot points were after the beginning phase of the book. It's really easy to blame that on, well, that's just poor writing, or I guess the writer didn't do a good enough job of jumping off the page, and then justifying it by saying, well, I've got other things to do, I'm really busy. And that all just became a form of blaming others for my unwillingness to be patient and give these stories a chance and a proper opportunity to flesh out and convey the message that they really wanted to get out. It's scary to think about how close I was to setting some of those books down forever and potentially never picking them back up. Furthermore, there have been albums that have completely altered the trajectory of my life. And most of those albums were shoved away or completely disrespected for a period of time. I've always been really picky about the music that I want to listen to. Oh, hey Pat, check out this album. It's really good. I think you'll like it a lot. And I will have the niceties and say, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll be sure to check it out. But I'm going to most likely go home and say, yeah, right. I'm not checking that shit out. Or even if I did get around to playing it, I would sort of just turn it on and kind of do something else and let it be background music. Or just fully zone out and just think about all the mistakes that I made that day, that week, that year, instead of actually actively listening to the music that was playing. And it would be just some insane rationalization where I could say, yeah, well, I heard it, but did I actually listen to it? But then I could give my honest review and say, yeah, it really wasn't my cup of tea. Sorry, but thanks for the recommendation. Or maybe I would just scapegoat some sort of like the way that this person would sing or whatever vocal style they would use or the style of the structure of the song, anything. I would just choose something and say, because of this, I don't like it. And the best part about this is that one of the genres that I love the most today and have for most of my adult life was one that I loathed in middle school and high school, and really up until college, I was still resisting it a lot. Anytime it would come on, it would just be like instantly I would say, please turn that off. I can't even listen to another second of that. It's awful. This is awful. And it gets even better because there was a time in 2009, I think, I went to a concert in Vermont with one of my best friends of all time. And we went to see a co-headlining band. And one of the opening bands I had never heard of, and they played for 45 minutes. And let me tell you what, that was 45 minutes of pure hell as I stood there in the crowd just praying, like, please let this set end because I cannot take any more of this. Like, I'm about to walk out of the venue. It's so bad. Who would ever listen to this band? And then the other band played and it was a great night and we had fun and we drove home, whatever. And sometime later, I sat down, the band kind of just popped up again somewhere on the internet with a new song they'd put out, and I listened to it and it was just clicked. And I was like, holy, this is so good. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was shocked that the same band that I was like nauseous from listening to was now immediately just ascending, meteoric, just, we are going to become your favorite band of all time. Sure enough, within a few months after seeing the 45-minute hell extravaganza set, I'm now obsessively listening to this same album that they played and the new music that they had just released. And I was so close to completely writing them off. A band that has changed my perspective on everything in the world of music. Not everyone listening to this is supposed to obsess over the books that changed my life. Not everyone here will fall in love with the music that made me fall in love with life. And whether it's art or music or wellness, spiritual health, some sort of hobby that you want to do in the desert with your friends. I can't think of one that's popular in California. I sincerely hope that everyone can find a medium or multiple mediums that are similar to that long form conversation where it takes a little bit of work or maybe a lot of work to have it click, but it's something that you absolutely need to hear for yourself individually that will make your life better forever. I really think that one of the greatest modern travesties is that a potential long form conversation that can change your life will be skipped over in lieu of 20 tidbits on your social media. Check out this workout you've already seen 1,000 times from other influencers on the internet this month. Trending, Jeff Bezos has a dick rocket and also just grew devil horns. Hey man, burn fat with this one crazy trick. And also pay me $500 before I tell you. Ding! Instagram notification, Horny Boy 69, sweaty tongue out emoji, wants to send you a private message. Here's what the lines on your palm will reveal about your personality. Wake up every day and be better than the person you were yesterday. Motivational music playing, crescendoing in the background as a vein pops out of my neck to prove to you that I care. Hey, go tell others to be more self-aware and boom, now you're the most self-aware human on earth. Wasn't that easy? Isn't this air of superiority nice? Tidbits have existed forever, like movie previews. That's always like, there's a little hook that gets you interested so that you actually go and watch the movie. And in the early stages of the internet, tidbits were kind of the same thing. It was like, here's this presentation or this product or whatever, but here's our quick little 30-second tidbit of info that will get you hooked so that you go look at it. But what that's devolved down to as our patience has waned and our attention spans have become really brittle is an expectation that 30-second tidbit is what's going to be the life-changing piece of information. A question I ask myself, and that I am now asking to everybody on the other side of this camera, is to really think about how many times have you scrolled through those tidbits and had them actually permanently change your life on the spot. And there's a distinct difference between scrolling and seeing something that it's like, maybe a tear. Maybe a tear. And you'd be like, I'm feeling this deeply. And scroll, next thing. Oh, wow, this is a great thing that I can add to my training program. Wow, this is totally life-changing. Scroll, next thing. You go to sleep that night, and very few of those things have actually gripped you and made you really reflect on the way you've been doing things and maybe the way you want to do things going forward. Talking with people for hours about nothing or listening to long stories about people's lives and experience is often time-consuming and sometimes can be really frustrating. But when that certain person and certain conversation strikes you the right way, it changes you forever. How many times have those onslaughts of tidbits changed you forever? Seriously. Do they mean anything to you once you scroll to the next tidbit? Not every exploration is wrought in gold. But if one only stares into a cave from its entrance, a potential discovery is wholly lost.